forward with prosecution.
Let me start
Right now,
over again. Let me
prosecution depends on what the crime was, when it happened, and how old the victim was. Senator
person. There we go. Okay. I am calling the meeting to order of January 13th, 2026 at 12:01 p.m. with a full quorum. We can just repeat the motion order from before for the approval of the agenda. With Eddie?
Yes, I will move to approve the agenda. Eddie.
Thank you. Second, Channing?
Channing.
Great, thank you. So I have a motion and a second on the table. All in favor with the roll call vote. Eddie?
Aye.
Channing? Malinda?
Aye.
Carolyn, aye. Motion passes unanimously. Great, thank you. I want to welcome our guests. Let me look at the list. The guests we have today are Glenna Voigt, who is here with the MAC Foundation, Johnny Rodriguez, who is here with the PAC group and also a parent of a student. We have Brandon McCabe-Kelly, who is a parent of our student and our student representative, Tague McCabe-Dexter. And we have Davida Wilson, and I'm not sure who she's with. Is she a parent?
She's with the foundation.
Oh, great. I should have known that. Great. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Glenna. And we welcome Davida Wilson, who is going to be working with Glenna on the foundation. And then we have Donna Wickard as well, part of our staff and our minute taker. So welcome. Do any of our public want to make any comments during the public input portion? I figured, Glenna, you and Davida, you can, speak when we bring up the MAC Foundation approval, if that's okay. Any other comments from our guests? Thank you. Okay, can I get a motion to approve the minutes of I think it was December 9th, 2025 meeting, or any amendments?
I still move Channing.
Thank you, Channing. Can I get a second?
I'll second Malinda.
Thank you, Malinda. Okay, I have a motion and second on the table. Roll call vote. Channing?
Aye.
Malinda?
Aye.
Eddie?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. And so let's go ahead and bring up our business manager. Happy New Year, Ashley. Good to see you.
Happy New Year. Good to see everyone too. Okay, so first page on the revenue report. All RFRs are up to date. I'll be submitting some more this week. We did receive our Lease Assistance Award letter last month, so I did submit for 2 quarters for that. We're just waiting on those funds to come in, but everything is pretty much up to date on this. Next page on the expenditure report. So you will see that operational is negative 195,000. We're still waiting on the 40th day adjustment. And I just entered the draft financials into the state website. So PD just has to approve them, and then they'll generate bars so I can bring to the board next month for the school's carryover for operational. But the school should be in the positive.
Well, we want it in the positive.
What was that?
We definitely want it in the positive.
Yes, always want it in the positive. And then let's see, going through, we do have Idea B funds available, about 44,000. I am monitoring the school's MOE, so once we are meeting that, then we can move expenses into the Idea B fund. Title IV, we have 17,000 available. GOB library funds, the school has $4,582 available. Instructional materials, we have about 2,700 available. We still have 13,000 available in that litter control grant the school received. The lease assistance fund is negative, but once the bar is approved, then that will be positive. And then once the lease assistance bar is approved, I'll be able to move more of the lease out of HB 33 so that 65,000 available balance will go up once I move the lease out of there. And then going to the next page is the bank account register activity report. These are all the deposits and withdrawals that were made during the month. Let me know if you have any questions on anything that was paid or deposited.
I don't have a specific question about a specific item. I'm kind of curious if there are different ways to sort this report. For instance, just to be able to see what was spent on, utilities, what was spent on classroom product, just kind of, separated into those kind of expenditures. Is that
Okay.
possible? It seems like it would be informative.
Yeah, I can maybe adjust the expenditure report to just kind of show more or less like what is spent in those lines. Because I know how Mike had it before, he did like he's just showing the total functions. Because that's usually what the auditors look at. But when I generate the report, it's more detailed when I look at it. So it'll show more like what we spend on student supplies, what we spend on like utilities or professional services, stuff like that. So I can adjust it more next meeting. It's just going to be more a bigger report because it'll have more detail.
Okay, I think, when I look at this report and I go down, it's like, it's hard to keep track. Oh, we have a Comcast here and then another one here and 2 or 3 Amazons. It's like, what is kind of the trends that are happening in the spending, and if it's not a big work burden on you.
I think if I adjust the expenditure report, it's just going to show like, okay, how much do we spend on student supplies just in general. It won't show like the actual vendor. Let me see.
That's okay. That just sort of puts it in a category that we can kind of understand and look at and place within the context of, the school.
Okay, and then on the I do also have the purchase order report, so you can kind of see it's on the next page. So you can see like how much the PO is open for and how much we have paid so far. So it'll show like for PNM, Comcast. Is that kind of what you're looking for?
Yeah, the views can be kind of confusing sometimes though, because they can be open, it's just kind of a different. Yes, it's informative, but at
Mhm.
the same time, I find it sometimes a little bit confusing as to, yeah.
Yeah, so I know like if there's multiple Amazon purchases, it's usually it could be for different stuff. So we don't really have one like a general Amazon PO. Usually Courtney will just send me one probably every week, like if the school needs certain supplies for students or the custodial supplies, stuff like that.
Okay.
So
All right. Thank you.
you're welcome. Any questions on the bank register activity report?
Sound like it?
No questions? Okay. And then the next page is just the purchase order report. So the dollar POs are just the reoccurring expenses, and then the regular POs is just the one-time expense. So kind of at the bottom are the most recent ones that the school has opened. So just let me know if you have any questions on any of the POs.
A lot of plumbing POs.
Yeah. Any questions?
I just have a quick question. This is Kendra.
Mhm.
What is West Highland LLC?
That is the LPA,
The what?
the lease to purchase.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Thank
it's
you.
for you're welcome. So it's at the bottom because I had to do a change order to account for the new LPA for the new bank building.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Okay. So next page is the bank reconciliation. So ending balance per the bank was $376,533.15 minus the outstanding check. So the expected GL balance was $372,177.55. And then the
Now,
balance sheet.
I'm
What was
sorry.
that?
Will that balance change with the 99,000 we're gonna approve?
Yeah, so once we get the first 2 quarters of lease assistance, that will go up, and then once I request the next 2 quarters, the balance will go up for that also.
That's good.
So the balance sheet's going to show the bank account balance per fund at the top and then the carryover at the bottom. So some of these funds that are negative at the top, those are all reimbursement accounts. So just letting you know. And then I have just the one bar for the lease assistance for $99,032.
Is this for our old one or our new one?
The old one.
The old one, okay.
Yeah, so the new one will be probably included in next year's application.
Okay, but we've already started paying on it, so we're already starting to draw down that money without the reimbursement. So it's kind of like we have a year where we don't get the lease agreement stuff.
Yes, and the lease assistance award is also based off of your average 80th and 120th student count. So it's not going to cover the whole LPA. It's only based on student count. So the more students you have, the more it will cover. But right now it's going to be paid out at HB 33. So
Okay, good. Thank you for explaining that.
you're welcome.
Okay, can I get, do anybody have any questions for Ashley or for the bar?
You, Ashley.
You're welcome.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve bar number 501-000-2526-0007 into the general fund, capital outlay debt service increase for $99,032 even. Can I get a motion?
I will move. This is Kendra.
Thank you, Kendra. Can I get a second?
Second, Eddie.
Thank you, Eddie. Okay, I've got a motion and a second. Roll call vote. Kendra?
Aye.
Eddie?
Aye.
Annie? Malinda?
Aye.
Carolyn, I motion passes unanimously. Okay, great. Thank you. go ahead and move on to the action items, which is the approval of a memorandum of understanding with the MAC Foundation. So that is Glenna and Davida. Welcome.
Thank you.
The board knows that we have been working kind of behind the scenes to bring back the MAC Foundation. So what they have not been briefed of is the proposed name change, which I think is a great idea that you proposed. So you want to take it from here?
Did you say me?
Yeah, you.
Oh, okay, thanks. Hi. So great to see everyone. Malinda, hi. So, I talked with some folks, and the foundation board doesn't necessarily have to be called the New Mexico Academy of Media Arts Charter School Foundation. And so MAC, instead of having the MAX Foundation, I took off the CS at the end, and it would just be the Media Arts Collaborative Foundation, which kind of is more open and welcoming and invites participation possibly from other students to do media production. I'm hoping that we can have some really high quality student productions come out of the foundation and charge fee for service that will feed into the foundation board. So that's kind of the scope of things. I wanted to bring on Davida also. Davida is on the Zoom, and if you want to introduce yourself, I think you all know who I am, right? I don't need to introduce myself, do I?
Does everybody know who Glenna is? She was one of the founders of our school, the opening principal. She sat on the PEC commission. I could go on and on. She's great and very incredible mentor and supporter of the school in many, many ways.
Thanks, Carolyn. Davida, did you want to make an introduction?
Sure. My name is Davetta Wells. I know it said Wilson earlier, but legally it's Wells. So if it's on the legal document, I have to use that name. I am familiar with the school because my daughter graduated from Max. I previously sat on her former school's board at Mount Mahogany, so Kendra and I are well acquainted. And Glenna asked me about 6 months-ish ago about sitting on this foundation board. So that's my introduction. I'm a community member, lived in Albuquerque and in this community most of my life, and I'm a Potter.
Great.
Great. Very nice.
And Davetta's daughter is Orchid, and Orchid Wilson went to the school, and she's an artist as well. Actually, she has an installation, a sculpture out at the Valle de Oro open space.
And she has a mural on Max currently still. Her senior class mural is still up on the school.
That's awesome.
Great.
Yes.
So we have yet to have a meeting of the foundation board, but right now we have myself, Anthony Conforti, Davetta, a gentleman named Trey Pickett, who I've yet to meet, but he works at the Black Cat Theater over on Monte Vista. There's a parent, Joan Baker, who I met at the kickoff. She's interested in writing grants for the foundation. I don't know who her child is that goes to the school.
Fortunately, her child no longer attends with us.
Okay, that's all right. I'll reach out to her and make sure she's still interested. And then also Catherine McGill. You might know her. She's a community entrepreneur. She's also a singer, and she's also interested in supporting the foundation. So that's all I have as far as board personnel. And I think you have a copy of the MOU.
Yeah, they have a copy of the MOU with they don't have a copy of the new one you sent me. So when you all do look at the copy that came with your packet, we're just going to take off the C and the S on our resubmittal for reactivation on the the foundation. So, yeah, it's really exciting, and Glenna has some really exciting ideas and plans for the foundation and for the school, and really elevating it back up to the media arts standard that we should be setting. So, okay, anything else, Glenna or Davetta?
I have a quick question.
Sure.
Why is it such a good change? You were very enthusiastic about the name change.
Well, the media, our school used to be the Media Arts Collaborative Charter School. And that is the name that we're trying to reactivate the foundation under. But since we have a new name for our school, which is the New Mexico Academy for the Media Arts, just to make it less confusing and more collaborative for a variety of projects, having it just be the Media Arts Collaborative Foundation.
Okay.
Yeah, because then it gives it more. I mean, we're still kind of known as the Media Arts Collaborative Charter School. Will always be known as MACS. So the MAC Foundation still holds true to that, to that kind of vision that they had when it was set up. It's unfortunate, the demise of Patty and Marvin Gladstone, in the chain of custody of the foundation, that we're having to do this, but we're right there. We're all, we're there.
Okay.
Thanks for the question. That's a good question. Okay, any other comments or questions? And can I get a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding with the MAC Foundation?
I so move, Malinda.
Thank you, Malinda. Can I get a second?
Second, Channing.
Thanks, Channing. I have a motion and a second on the table. Roll call vote. Malinda?
Aye.
Channing? Eddie?
Aye.
Kendra?
And thank you for all the work. I had my mouth full. Sorry. That's amazing work. Thank you.
And Carolyn, aye. Motion passes unanimously with all board members in the affirmative. Thank you. And welcome, Kendra. Good to see you.
Yay, thanks. So we have our bylaws. During our first meeting, we'll approve our own bylaws and the articles of incorporation. And then I think, Carolyn, you're going to send those off to the feds. We can get our DUNS number established. And then after all that, then we can start looking at some real energetic work. Thank you very much.
Well, we're excited to show off the whole building to you so that you can see the space we've got. So you'll be very pleased.
Yeah, looking forward. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to Executive Director Jones's report. The man of the
Yeah, always. Well, good afternoon, everyone, and I want to say thank you to Glenna and Davetta. That's a really important function of any charter school, to have that foundation piece in place, not only as a fundraising arm, but I mean, there's just a lot of opportunity to collaborate with that foundation to make finance an easier thing for schools. But that support system is really big for schools. So I appreciate all the work. I know it was a lot to get going, and I certainly appreciate it here in my first year. So thank you. Let's see. And I want to say about the name change, I love the collaborative nature, because from that fundraising arm, and if we're going to do media collaboration with others, I think it really invites those art schools and other, just other groups in general to want to collaborate to do these projects with us that, of course, in turn, we have really good people around in our school who can help facilitate the work that's done as well. So that's just exciting. I think it would open a lot of doors and hopefully be a good, finance arm for us in the long run. So thank you all for that. Let me share my screen. I'm going to start with the dashboard. And I'm not sure if I skipped this for the month of December. I'll try to run through very quickly. I don't have a whole lot, but I'm trying to work on not being as long-winded. So I apologize to you all and the Public Education Commission who has to hear me. Um, Attendance to begin, it looks like our attendance has gotten better this school year. So, we have the actual and we have the goals next to that. Attendance wise, we're doing okay. I'm starting to see, and of course, this is all reflective of the month of December. And so, coming back from school, I have seen some absences and some dips. And so we're in the process right now of hiring a student support assistant, which is an educational assistant who will help us as an attendance clerk and with some other very important functions as well. But, we can get into that a little bit later throughout my report. I will tell you that attendance wise, total, it looks like we're sitting around 97%, but of course, our student information system right now isn't very supportive in that regard. It doesn't really work with the new law, so we're having to do manual operations when it comes to performing the calculations, rather. So that's what attendance looks like. Enrollment, we're sitting at 120, 119. So the goal, of course, was to hit 120 this year. We are up from last school year, so that is something we're happy about, but we are looking to grow at least to the 120 mark and, of course, to continue growing from there. We have a partnership right now currently with Albuquerque Live, the magazine, and that's a marketing group that specializes in digital marketing, and we'll have internship opportunities for students. But, the big thing is for us, return on investment wise, which we hope is there, we have to pay money and help with this marketing function so that we can recruit and potentially retain our students. And so we do need to get our name out there. Social media is a great place to do that because it's popularity. So we're hoping to get enrollment to the 120 mark and then to stay there, obviously, as we move into the end of the year, because we're getting closer. Staffing wise, again, this is what we look like. We're at 20. The goal is 20, and honestly, we are a bit overstaffed. But at the same time, we have a lot of needs because we have a special education team. We have a full-time school social worker that's getting paid out of Title I. We have a lot of good components right now, and we have a lot of important people. But we still are in need of a counselor, and we still are in need of front office help. Unfortunately, our budget doesn't support that. So Ashley and I have tried to be as creative as we can this school year in utilizing our title funds and our carryover dollars to secure these people that we so badly needed, especially during this transition year. So that's where we are. Discipline wise, we're doing pretty well. We, honestly, I'm really proud and happy to say that we haven't had a physical altercation all school year, with the exception of something that was really minor in the first week with sixth grade students, two of which who had not been in public schools. They had been homeschooled. So that transition for them was difficult, to say the least, but we have not had physical altercations. I'd say the thing that we're struggling with the most to this very day is the vaping situation, because it's so prevalent. They're able to access vapes. And so we have vape detectors installed in restrooms, and they have of course, a sensor system where they notify us, but unfortunately, we still have people who are testing the system. But discipline, this is what it looks like. And we're doing pretty well. We have a good crop of students here who value being at school and one another, and so they respect and value what the school has to offer, and that's very nice. So it isn't a game of playing sheriff all day long. It's only those minor instances that we're addressing. Wellness, these are our wellness referrals. You can see that our social worker is pretty busy. We have 3 students that are classified or considered as homeless. This is for the month of December. We've made 4 CYFD reports, both in middle school, 1 suicidal ideation in high school. And again, we're fortunate to have a crisis team that we've constituted this year. And we also have a full-time school social worker and a partnership with the Community Lighthouse, which is an outside external counseling and therapy group that we partner with, and we submit referrals so that parents can end up working with this group. The one thing that we've noticed, and if you'll see for the month of December, is we haven't submitted any referrals because we have a lot of parents who although students struggle with mental health issues, are very proactive, and their students are already receiving external support through counseling and therapy. So wellness referrals for middle school, we can see that they have 7 in high school, 3 have been submitted. And those are for things that are very unique to students outside of discipline. So, it can have to do with, their upkeep, or it could have something to do with food in the home, or basic social behaviors that are deemed to be inappropriate. So that's outside of discipline, and those are things that we help with from an early intervention standpoint as much as possible. These are our academic scores, which we've already gone over, so I won't harp on these. The only thing that I will say is I'm in the middle of completing and submitting our spring 2026 New Mexico Dash plan, and that's a 90-day plan that helps us to set goals and monitor those goals at the 30, 60, and 90-day marks. And so I'm working with our department leads and our special education staff to create those goals, to finalize those goals, and to get those submitted, which is also tied to our accreditation. And New Mexico Dash has been around for a while. I did submit the plan for fall 2025, but just to give you an update, I am working on the new plan for the spring. And our ultimate goal is to get to these marks that you see below. Looks like we're a ways off, but I think if you set the bar high and you get close to it, then you've succeeded. And as we mentioned before, usually middle of year, we see small dips when it comes to student proficiency. It can be a perseverance thing. I don't know what it is, but for all of my years as an administrator, I've always seen these very small dips, which at this point, I'm not too concerned about. We have a few different data points that look very promising when it comes to our students. One of which is our intervention program for reading and math, which does its own diagnostic assessment and periodic interim assessments as well. So I will update you all with that very shortly. So that's it for the dashboard. Does anyone have any questions about the dashboard itself or any of the data that was presented? Okay. All right. If you ever have any questions about anything, feel free to stop me. You can also email me or you can call me. I'm happy to answer anything. I know it's a lot of information to get very quickly, but as you process and read through it all, feel free to reach out at any time.
Carolyn, can I ask a quick question?
Yes, absolutely.
Just a question about the enrollment. You had -7 in the 8th grade, and I'm wondering if if that seems like a huge number. So I'm wondering if you know what the trends are there. Are these extremely unique cases? Because I would imagine 8th grade is someplace is a grade where you want to retain, certainly for the high school, right? So that seems like a pivotal grade level for
Sure.
increasing enrollment. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah, it does. And thank you for your question. I certainly appreciate it. I think the way I have the data displayed might be a little confusing. We have actual on the left-hand side as far as this column is concerned. So we have 24 in 8th grade currently. Now our goal was only 17 because we have 17 per grade level.
Got it.
And 18, yeah. So we were hoping to arrive at the 120 mark, and actually 8th grade is our biggest class currently, and they are, as far as our goal is concerned, over-enrolled by 7 students. However, we do have room for up to 25 students at each grade level. One thing that we'd love to do is continue to expand, but what we wanted to do as well, because the way we project enrollment is tied to our budget, we don't ever want to over project, because if we over project and we give the over projection, the enrollment figure to the state, they end up taking money back from you. So you want to have a modest projection so that if you end up exceeding that, you get a kind of burst of extra dollars.
Got it. Sorry, I was reading it backwards. Thank you.
Don't worry about it. It's probably the way I had it formatted. And I appreciate your questions. I really do. Anytime.
Yeah, good question to clarify it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so, and I guess what I should have done is I should have had that in green instead of red, because that's a surplus, right? Anyhow, so let me pull up my next administrator's dashboard. So here's the director's report. And as usual, I mean, please feel free to stop me as we go. If there's anything that doesn't sound correct to you, it's probably a presenter's flaw. I'd be happy to clarify anything as long as I can. So, all right. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So this is the executive director's report, and as you know, we have on the left-hand side all of the areas that I report on: facilities, purchasing, the charter management, governing council piece, curriculum instruction and assessment, policy if we need to pass any, and then other. So that can include finance or other, obviously areas that are involved with the operation of our school. In terms of facilities, we know that we have an ongoing issue with our heater, and um, we're really struggling with that, and I've already brought that up. We talked about the mini split system. We talked about the use of capital outlay funds to support the acquisition of a new system because the repair of the current system continues to create the same problems year after year. Just a quick update. I wanted to let you all know that the part is actually expected to arrive today. So I have 110, but in speaking with the vendor, the part is supposed to arrive today, and installation is supposed to begin tomorrow, and it will last until Friday. So they said at the latest, Friday would be the day that they completed the entire installation and got the system back up to an operational level. With that in mind, we're operating well, classes are being held in environments that just are not conducive to learning. So we have uncomfortable situations for teachers and for students. And, Chair Carlson will tell you that we've already started to receive complaints. Miss Courtney in the front office has already fielded complaints as well. And parents are very concerned about their students learning in an environment which temperatures can range between 30 and potentially 45 degrees. And this happens through 1:30 p.m. So from 8 a.m. or 8:30 when they're allowed to arrive through 1:30 p.m., it is at a temperature where students are bringing their own blankets. And unfortunately, we're utilizing space heaters in classrooms, which is something that is against building code for schools. You are not allowed to have space heaters in classrooms and utilize them because obviously it's a fire hazard. And so we are going to move to asynchronous learning beginning tomorrow through Friday. We've already prepared a plan for the school in terms of expectations for teachers and for students and for all of us, even administration. So we do have a plan. We've made physical copies for students that do not own their own devices, and we are creating a situation in which students can ask for devices from their teachers. However, we're trying not to deploy devices at this time because we do not have the accountability measures in place or authorization from parents to release devices to students in which parents would be responsible for. And so that was something that we weren't necessarily prepared for, but we did make other plans, and the other plans include creating physical work and doing check-ins with students on a daily basis. And so those students that do have devices will check in with teachers on a daily basis. You can also check in through your phone, and that'll be the way we mark attendance on a daily basis. And so the way the plan is written currently, students are responsible and teachers are responsible for meeting depending on the schedule that we have for each day, A day and B day. And so we have that in place with all of the work that's already been prepared to pass out to students. We've gotten the communication out to families already through School Messenger. We've also posted it to our website, and we've sent an email to all parents. But again, the reason is because the temperature in building 2 is it's just unbearable for many. And I'll tell you, even in my office, it's a smaller space. My space heater takes until probably 2:30 or 3 to warm up my space. And everyone's walking around with their extremities extremely, I mean, it's just uncomfortable and noses are running. And so it just isn't a good place to teach and to learn. I am hopeful that we'll work together as a board to create or to to replace the system so that we don't have this ongoing problem, because it's my understanding this has taken place for several years in a row, where either the air conditioning isn't working properly or the heating isn't working properly. And so we need to get beyond that, especially with the fact that we own the buildings and now we're in a position to do so. So that's it with facilities, with the exception of we have an electrician here that's installing outlets that are really to support our new smart boards. And that began on the 8th, and he will complete his work into next week. And that's really all we have for facilities, with the exception of I did have a person come and give us, or she's creating an estimate, a quote on wrapping our windows that are on the south side of the bank building. So we can have our school logo and student work displayed on those windows so that when people pass, they understand that A, we're a school, and B, the great work that students do. So she should be giving me a quote that, of course, if it exceeds my threshold, I'll bring back to you all and work with Ashley on preparing a purchase order for. And I believe that's it for facilities. Do we have any questions about facilities, since that was probably the main piece beyond the charter management?
Well, thank you for your dedication to solving this heating problem and getting through this. And also, it's great news about the wrap on the south side. That's awesome. That's that's our most visible side now. So that's really exciting.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I'll just work really closely to get that fixed. What a drag, I'm sorry. And a lot of work going in asynchronous, and so yeah.
Thanks, Kendra. Yeah, I'm really hopeful that we can get it repaired with our special capital outlay funds, which if we replenish during the next session, and we do hope to do that, that'll leave us additional funds to do, the rest of the building repairs that we so badly need. But this has become our priority almost overnight. And as soon as we finished our facilities master plan, it seems like this happened, and now it's something that's at the top of the list in terms of replacement. So thank you all for your understanding and for your support. All right, purchasing, we don't have anything. I don't have anything for you that exceeds my threshold. Thank you to Ashley for walking us through the finance report. As far as charter management is concerned, I wanted to give you a quick update. We have our annual visit on February 25th. I will reach out to the board to see if anyone is available for our focus groups. They do need board members to participate in interviews. And so we have focus groups for students, for staff, and for board members. That'll happen on the 25th, but I will reach out with additional information. I have a pre-visit meeting scheduled for the 15th, and that's in 2 days. So that'll be at 10 a.m. and that'll be with the lead authorizer responsible for our visit. And so after meeting with her, I'll be able to have more information about times, and I will share that with you and reach out to see if anyone's interested in the focus groups. But also, I'd be prepared to share that information with you before the 25th and during our February meeting. So I was assigned a digital folder, and I will share, of course, everything that goes within the protocol. There's a protocol that was in your packet that was shared with you, and you can see that they give you a mock schedule, but they also try to get into detail about what they'll be looking for. And so my job as the head administrator is to look through each of those areas associated with our charter contract and with our performance framework, and make sure that we have evidence to support. So for example, Courtney and I are working on auditing employee files. That's going to be happening, and we're getting into the ethical background checks to review those again, just to ensure that personnel files are complete with ethical background checks and that we've done our due diligence in following through, especially as they relate to findings from the previous school years. And so, those are some of the things we're working on. I've presented to you all things about what they found, and I think it's really important. It would be prudent of me to share with you again what that final annual report looks like, because there was an improvement in one area within the performance framework, but I think it would be a good idea for you all to see the final annual report, and for you to know that I'll be in front of the Public Education Commission this Friday. They've invited me to talk about our additional square footage amendment, and also to just listen to the discussion that they have regarding our school if they do have detailed discussion about our school in the annual performance framework, because there are areas that did not meet their standards. So let me stop and share that with you. I think it's important that you see it. And so you all know, as the head administrator, and I know, some head administrators may take a different approach, but I share all this information with staff. We're a really small school, and when we have our Monday meetings, and even as we get into other things like PLCs, we have other planning meetings, we have kid talks for MLSS, we have professional development that we do on Wednesdays. We have parent teacher conferences that we do biweekly. We have next step planning that I've asked teachers to support. We have all of these things that flow and become a little overwhelming for teachers, but I feel it's my job to provide them with big picture information so they can see why we do what we do, instead of perhaps thinking that maybe I'm just trying to make their lives miserable. So I do love sharing all that information, and I think it's really helpful and important for them to see. So here it is again. Let me make sure that you can see it. So I'm going to share. Here it is. And so what we're looking at, if I can try to zoom in. There it is. Sorry. So this is our performance frame, or I'm sorry, this is our annual report, and this is our finalized annual report. It was just updated on the 8th of January, and the reason that it was just updated is because they did request any additional information that I could provide. And so what I did is I looked for information that I was able to provide. And in this case, it related to our internships, because we have a number of students who have successfully completed their internship requirement that's related to our performance framework. A lot of the other things, because I wasn't here and I didn't have the documentation to provide, and I couldn't find any support for us meeting, their indicators, I just couldn't provide. And so the most important piece that I'd like to go over, there are two of them. First being the academic performance framework. You can see that we have the state accountability system. Well, first of all, we have all of the indicators on the left-hand side. The middle column is our score from 23-24, and on the right-hand side is the score from 24-25. And so the academic performance framework indicators include three, and the first is the state accountability system. And the state accountability system that we utilize currently is the New Mexico Vistas designation. And so you can see that from 23-24 to last year, we dropped just under 5 points. School-specific goals, these two goals are an average of points, and we do have school-specific goals, and that is, for us, media literacy courses for all students and internships. And so what you'll see is for 23-24, we ended up earning 75 points, but for 24-25, because I didn't have the documentation, and I was able to hunt it down eventually and provide what I had to the public education department, they did end up awarding us 75. Initially, for the preliminary report that we received, it was 0 points. So we had 0 out of 75. And why is that important? Because that's related to our academic performance framework. And the performance framework is a big indicator of whether or not they give you a 5-year renewal, if they give you a 3-year renewal, perhaps with conditions, or they could potentially even give you a 1-year renewal, also with conditions. And so if you're meeting your academic performance framework goals, and if you work towards satisfying a lot of the other things that we'll review here shortly, you have a really good chance of that renewal, which for us is coming up in only a couple of years. So we ended up getting 75 out of 75 points there. And then we have an overall academic score, which is the average of VISTAs, the accountability system, and the mission specific goal score, which ended up being 68 out of 70. All in all, that was a good score for us to have. But overall, it looks like we've gotten ourselves in pretty good standing. And I think the schools continue to put themselves in pretty good standing, with the exception of other things. Now, we didn't end up as a spotlight school, but we are a traditional school. So we aren't a targeted support improvement school, additional targeted support and improvement, a comprehensive support school, or a more rigorous intervention school. We actually are a traditional school because of these ratings that we just reviewed. Now, I just want to get to the bottom because this is really the meat of the work that we have to do, and this is what I've reported on. Hopefully enough. And so the organizational and financial performance framework, we received a rating of does not meet standard. Okay, but this is the section that's really easier for us to understand. Again, on the left-hand side, we have all of the indicators. In the middle column, we have 23-24 as a school year, and then we have school year 24-25, which was the last school year. We have all of these indicators, and the most important indicators to look at are those that are not meeting the standard. And so when we look at this, we have reporting requirements, and it states that we're still working to meet the standard. Right underneath this, we have some of the explanations. And so I will get into that with you right now. 2C, the school submitted one late notification to the Public Education Commission in March. The change occurred in December 2024. And so we do have a new system that we're expected to use called Epicenter to do all of the reporting. And Chair Carlson and I work on the reporting. And so we've actually done the reporting and met the timelines this year. And so by next year, that should fall off and we should meet that particular standard because that was only one instance. Rights of all students would be the next one, and that's 3A. 3A states that the McKinney-Vento information was not on the school's website. The school has been in contact with the NMPED's McKinney-Vento coordinator. That's already been fixed for the current year. We have a new coordinator who is our school social worker, Ms. Barferson. We have our survey that's sent out to all parents, which has already been sent out via email and will be sent out again in the spring. And that's to gather information from parents about homelessness. Keep in mind that there's a definition related to homelessness in schools. And so, for example, if families are doubling up in one home and there's over a certain number of people in that home, it falls under that category of homelessness. And so the school's job is to reach out and provide supports when and if necessary. You all did see my dashboard to where we've indicated who and at which grade levels we have homeless students. And so Ms. Barferson works with them. We've actually helped to place one family already in temporary housing. And so, you know, that's just a concerted effort that even Courtney supports, right? And so Courtney's stayed here and done some of that work herself, along with Ms. Barferson. So we have that. And if you want to check that on the website, we have a McKinney-Vento homeless education section. 3B, attendance and retention. If you look, the attendance percentage rate is 94%, and the target is 95%. Retention rate is 96% and 80% target. Recurrence is 65% and 70% target. So you can see we came up short on the attendance percentage and the recurrent. Okay, so one of the attendance pushes for this year, as parents have known and some have not responded well to, is we're having attendance meetings and we're sending attendance notifications. That is part of the reason we're looking for an attendance person in that student support assistant position to come in and support us, because that is a major undertaking and it requires lots of time and commitment. Not only that, but the ability to maintain meticulous records. So that's one function of that position. And we're working on attendance, but as I reported out to you a while ago, our attendance has improved and we're very hopeful that we'll meet that standard into next year. 3C, staff credentialing did not meet. And what this states is that there were 4 staff members listed on an error report from the 120 day, which indicated they did not have the appropriate license for their teaching assignments. This year, and as the Public Education Department and Commission has already acknowledged, we've met all of the licensure requirements for all teachers, and that is one of the reasons, along with everything else I'm reporting to you, that they didn't put us on a corrective action plan ladder when Chair Carlson and I went in front of them this year. And so they're hopeful and confident that we'll be able to remedy all of these things, and we've already done so when it comes to teacher licensing. Employee rights is 3D, and that was teacher evaluations, which hadn't been completed for 2 years. That isn't respecting the rights of your employees, because they count on that to have their licensures advanced to the next level and earn more income. and also to get adequate feedback as professionals. And so teacher evaluations are underway this year. We're already into the mid-year point where they're doing their PDP, professional development plan reflections. And so we've gotten beyond the first walkthrough, we've gotten beyond the domain 2 and 3 evaluation observation. And so now we're getting into domains 1 and 4. And for level 1 teachers, they will get a second domain 2 and 3, which is an instructional observation tied to their evaluation. And those things are underway. I've already gone through all of the required training, and I am the course manager when it comes to Canvas and our evaluation site. The rest are finance, accounting principles for 5B. There was one material weakness finding, one significant deficiency for a total of 5 findings on the FY24 audit. Responsive to audit findings was 5C, and that is there was one repeat finding for FY24. And then we have staffing for fiscal management, that's 5E, and it stated that the school CPO was not listed on the chief procurement officer list on the General Services Department webpage. Ms. Courtney is going through training to be our local CPO, and as soon as she completes the training now in February, we will update that list. And so that is an overview of these particular ratings that we received, and also just a reminder of the work that we're doing locally to try to get these things back in the green. And so I will go to Santa Fe on Friday. The Public Education Commission will accept this report, and at that point, they may add us to the agenda for February so that they can call Chair Carlson, myself, and potentially any other board members who can attend. Vice President Concho, if you're able to their stand so that they can ask us very explicit and direct questions about what we plan to do moving forward to make sure that this doesn't occur again. So yeah, that's kind of an overview of where we are when it comes to that. And at this point, I would stand for any questions that you have related before I complete the rest of my administrator's report.
Thank you for, sorry. Just want to thank you for all of the hard work that you've done for us these past couple of years. And a lot of it was swept under the rug that we would never have found out if it wasn't for moving forward with you. So thank you for all this information. And Ms. Carlson and I will definitely help to alleviate a lot of, that work that you've been taking on for all of us. So thank you very much for doing all of this. It's just a hard pill to swallow at times, but it's something that needed to be done, something that we need to see in order to progress forward. So thank you.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's definitely a team effort, and it's nice to have a supportive board and a great staff here too. So that's been very helpful. It's a lot of work. That's the truth. It's a lot of work that they add to you on an annual basis, getting into accreditation, which we saw. Seems like things just keep evolving and maybe not always for the better, but I'm not going to harp on that. We just have to do what's required. So thank you. I appreciate that. Okay.
In the chat, asking about clear backpacks policy.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Bye, Kendra. I think she had to leave.
Yeah.
That's a really good question. No, we do not. Currently, we do not have a clear backpacks policy. APS, I believe, launched a pilot, we can call it, with 5 schools. And so we, being our own district that's authorized by the Public Education Commission as a state charter, we didn't need to adopt a policy. If we feel a need to, that'll be something that the board would discuss. And as of right now, we're fortunate to have a good group of students, and we search backpacks when necessary, and that doesn't need to be for everyone at this point.
How do you know when it's necessary?
Well, when we end up finding students that have drugs, alcohol, or weapons, then what we do is we create a restorative restorative practice plan, which also requires that students not only complete a project based on the harm they've caused to others and present it, but part of that is we create conditions. And so part of those conditions to return from a suspension is that backpacks are searched on a daily basis for the duration of time that we dictate, depending on the offense. And so two staff members will search a backpack. It can be the social worker and Miss Courtney. It can be really whomever. And the students voluntarily dump out backpacks to make sure that they don't have those items back with them again. We restrict them to using specific restrooms in the school. We actually, when they return from a suspension from a serious offense, they aren't allowed to have the same freedoms as everyone else until they reestablish trust. And that's the way we ensure, or that's the way we decide, however, whose backpacks are searched.
Well, Mr. Jones, I didn't see all of the excerpt that was in the TV news about the backpacks. And I just know I think it was for APS required to have, the clear plastic backpacks.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been seeing that recently and the reactions from parents as well. I saw yesterday's news that the backpacks apparently are inadequate because they're breaking, and so that's creating new problems for students. And I don't know the rationale for, Dr. Blakey making that decision, but I'm certainly glad I am not her. And I think I think they have their work cut out for them because, any sort of a new policy like that is going to create some uproar. So wish
Well,
them the best.
it looked like to me that some of the objects could be covering other objects, and it probably wouldn't be that effective.
That's right. Yeah, there are a lot of ways to get things by. I can tell you that much from my experience. It's amazing. Some of these items don't even look like the things you're looking for, so you have to be pretty diligent. Yeah. All right, all moving along to curriculum instruction and assessment. New Mexico Dash Plan, as I mentioned earlier, is underway. We have a January 26th deadline, so I will make sure to meet that deadline. That is where we set goals, and we have two goals that we've had since fall 25. One is for mathematics because we have a low proficiency score and it's decreased. And so we're hopeful that we'll make incremental gains until we get that back to a place where we're exceeding the state average at minimum. By far, we hope, but that's a big part of our plan, as are administrative systems. And so, those things range from know your number to evaluation to different dashboards that I'm using with with staff members to try to shore up instruction. So those are our two goals, and I will share that with you during the February meeting as soon as it's approved. And then we have access testing that was scheduled for tomorrow. Unfortunately, we'll have to postpone for the following week due to our heating system and need to move to asynchronous learning. Policy-wise, I don't have any proposals for you as of now. I would envision us having to come back together to reapprove our wellness policy among a few others. And so that'll be brought to you in the spring. And then the only other thing that I have for you, and then I will be finished, is we have a Title IV audit. And so Mrs. Wolfel graciously attended the meeting. And so she and I are working on basically developing a plan to spend down that money. And one of the big flags for the public education. It might be helpful
to take a few minutes to.
I'm sorry.
That was my bad. Sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. The Title IV audit is because we didn't spend down the money and we've had it for too long. And really that's the big picture, is that the schools had money in their Title IV award that they've carried over. And so what they're saying is, we need to see a plan. We need to make sure that you have a plan to spend it down. And so one big part of our plan was hiring a school counselor, which we attempted to do and didn't work out very well. And so now we're looking for the student support assistant. And that assistant will be doing a lot of the school counseling functions with the support of administration. And so that's it for my report. If anyone has questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Director Jones, I just have a quick question.
Yes.
I know you said, due to our emergency of the heater and all. And I know you said that not everyone is able to be given, the technology as a part of what you said, like, was it liabilities or
Yeah, yeah.
is that something that we need to make a policy for in the future if there's any other emergencies that, require us to do this asynchronous type of learning and to have that in place so that way we do that like at the beginning of the year, make everyone sign or waivers or whatever. I guess propose it in the upcoming months.
I think that's a really good idea. I think we should add that as well as our film and video release form to our registration packet. And if we get to a place, through our capital outlay funding that we're comfortable even providing students with laptops that they take with them. They're responsible for checking them out, similar to APS. They check them out at the beginning of the school year. They're responsible for them. We as parents have to sign an acknowledgement that we are responsible. And that's the liability piece that I was describing. And they are responsible for taking them home, bringing them back charged. And of course, we replace them if they break and, if they're lost or stolen, then we would have to go through insurance. That's the back end part that we would have to work out as a board. But if we're in a position to where we can do that, I think that would be the best possible scenario for our school, to where these students have their own laptops, they're responsible for them, they bring them on a daily basis. And if we need to go remote, they have them and they're prepared to do so. That way we can have that continuum of learning without having to, make packets and do things like that. So great, great idea. I really love that idea. That should be a second form that we add to the registration packet and perhaps a system that we implement moving forward to where we check those devices out on a one-to-one sort of environment.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that suggestion.
I have oh, go on.
I'm sorry, Carolyn.
Go on, John.
I just had a question regarding this Channing's question, a follow-up to that. I know when we started at Media Arts, which was a long time ago, the kids used to get devices, and I'm not sure what has changed. I know there's been a lot of change, obviously, that we've seen, and I'm just curious what's changed in that time and why. I remember signing one of those forms at one point, I think in sixth grade. So I don't know why we made that change.
Remember right before or during COVID, especially right before that and during, we did have something in place to where we did start lending out those electronic devices. And you're right, I'm not too exactly sure what happened with that. And I know that with the change of administrators, that was a big thing that we lost, we got out of the loop with changing our business manager, our principal at the time. So yeah, that's something that I feel like we definitely need to look back into because you're right, we did do that in the past.
Yeah, I think it'd be a really good idea. And unfortunately, I can't really speak to why it doesn't happen. I can tell you that there are specific devices required for various classes. So that's one thing that comes to mind right off the top of my head. It's, Chromebooks don't really, they aren't useful in all classes. For example, we have animation classes that utilize a completely set of devices. And so those devices are ThinkPads, and they run a different software system and they're compatible in ways that Chromebooks are not. So, those are other things that we would have to consider as well. But I think, where there's a will, there's a way. And if we know that we've run into this problem before, it's probably in our best interest to figure out how to be more proactive. And so, Mr. Conforti, I would defer to him to answer some of those questions regarding what the issues would be with, assigning the one-to-one.
Well, if I may inject, then yeah, I agree. It was unfortunate that we did discontinue that. There was some talk that the kids mishandled them and they used them for other things other than their schoolwork at home. Of course, they're going to do that, right? But I don't. They mishandle them. Some mishandle them in class. I think, and Mr. Jones is correct. We would need them loaded with Adobe, but we have to do that anyways because all of our students take the media classes, and so they all need them. And actually, Mr. Jones, we've had a problem this last year with Adobe particularly, and with the computers, because we are sharing them. Okay, they are actually messing with each other's work, and there will be one student that will do something inappropriate on the computers, but because they're shared computers, we can't necessarily tell who's doing it. And so in some respects, we have a lot more control and accountability in terms of how that computer is treated if it's not a shared device. And I think, Mr. Jones, that's a big plus right there. And I have mentioned to Mr. Jones, though, that particularly for Mr. Richardson in my class and maybe Mr. Shu's class, remember, Glenna, we started with Apple. We started with Apple computers, and because they were the best for doing video and graphics and that sort of thing, they became a little bit too pricey for us. But and then with the towers, they took up so much space on the desktops. My preference would actually be, and I'm going to get one for myself, is what's called a Mac Mini. Some of you might have it. It fits in the palm of your hand. It's a desktop. It's very powerful, and they're about the same cost as a low-end laptop, and they would handle, I would like to see in my class desktops, because they can utilize a bigger monitor, which we have plenty of, and that's much more advantageous for editing. And but I still think they should have their own computers at home. I noticed that, particularly our best media students, they like to do media at home. Okay, it is really hard to do editing in a classroom because there's so much distraction. It's a very animation too. It's very time consuming, and those who like it, they enjoy doing it, and they'll do it at home, and we get better work out of them. So, boy, I would love that when we can afford that we do that.
Yeah, I concur. I think that's definitely in what I did see is our student board member who stated the same thing as far as having, devices in classrooms, but having desktops. And Mr. Conforti has sent me the model that he just described, and it looks like it would be a great option for our school. And now it would really just be a matter of the board prioritizing capital outlay and making sure that we, go through our full list of things that we need to repair, and those devices would be a great addition. So once we get that air conditioner and heater fixed, I would say, that could potentially become a close second if that's what the board decides to do. Yeah, so I believe that's it. Unless anyone has additional questions, my reports are now complete. And if anyone has questions, I'm happy to answer. And if not, I suppose, Chair Carlson, we can move forward.
Well, thank you for the informative and, very, very informative report on giving us an idea of what you're dealing with, sort of, and also what we need to do. I do have so the meeting on Friday with the PEC, that's part of their regular meeting?
It is, yeah. So that's a part of the regular meeting, and it's to approve the amendment that we have for the additional square footage. And at that time, they'll also be accepting those annual reports that are now finalized. And that's the annual report that I just shared. So they may ask that we come back in February to represent the school and answer questions.
Okay, I'll attend on Zoom on Friday just to be there.
Sure, that sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. If there's no other questions or comments for Director Jones, we'll move on to Mr. Conforti. Anthony, are you there?
Okay, yeah, sure. And today's been busy. This morning we began recording at the request of the PED these presentations on various things that they want administrators and superintendents to know. And we've done those before. It was with Dr. Garcia, who's the communications director for the secretary. She came in and we did two of them this morning. The students helped. thank you to Tig for helping. It was my prep period this morning, so I didn't have a class, and thankfully Tig and a couple seniors came in to help, and we'll be doing those. We'll be doing one tomorrow and a couple Friday. Tig, a couple of the students said they'd be willing to come in and help with that, and so basically, these are the same things that Mr. Jones has been conveying to us, like the next step plan and attendance, and all all the best practices kinds of stuff that filters down from the secretary to Mr. Jones and then to us, and so it's a good educational thing for the kids to hear. Anyways, they got it all from the horse's mouth this morning. So we'll be doing that. We also be doing some later this month with them. And I like to keep them happy. They're really nice to us. I don't know if it happened between now and then, but Dr. Garcia actually put us on to the list of mascots going to the UNM basketball game at the pit. They have mascot day, and we set our Minotaur there, and so that was a nice opportunity. So I like, and also we're going to be doing a really interesting project with PED, and that's involved the Black Education Act. Of course, February is the Black History Month. Anyways, it involves doing an interview and some stories with a author, Charlia Boyer, whose family came from Georgia to New Mexico in the 1800s to get away from the Ku Klux Klan and set up a town here in New Mexico called Vado, down near Roswell. Actually, Mr. Jones thinks he's got some relatives who are part of that group. And so it's really a great story of not only Black history, but New Mexico history. So that's one of the projects we'll be working on probably in February with them. Meanwhile, in terms of internships, Mr. Jones might have mentioned, I don't know if I missed anything, but we've had several meetings in addition to Albuquerque Live that he mentioned, who will be doing our marketing. And by the way, Mr. Jones, the kids are already excited about doing content for that. They love the idea of creating social media content, and so they're already at work at that. They mentioned doing marketing. Then also Mr. Jones put me in touch with the people involved in a new indoor football team that will be playing at Tingley Coliseum called the Chupacabras, and New Mexico Chupacabras, and a great name, and they are, they want us to do, help them. They will be live streaming their games. They're going to try to get their sponsors to do paid internships. Regardless, we can do internships, highlights. They want us to do media, little promos for them. They're willing to give us ads on their rink side, free. And we can brand everything. By the way, the PED said the stuff that we do for them, we can put our brand at the end of it too, produced by New Mexico Academy for the Media Arts. And so that's good. But yeah, the Chupacabras sound great because it's only right up the street at Tingley, and indoor football seems fun. The Ice Wolves have been tremendously successful. I hope we can make the same thing happen with these guys. It is a national effort, and also let's see what else something else came up regarding that. I did talk to Kendra and my neighbor and my longtime good friend, County Commission Chairwoman Barbara Baca, and she mentioned some possible internships with the county, and we're going to be wanting to do that. We're also going to be working on some projects related, in addition to the mural, to the Route 66 Centennial. And then also we've got the legislature coming up. We always do Media Day. Media Day is coming up towards the end of the session this year. It's going to be a smaller effort because it's a short session, but nonetheless, it's a good opportunity for the kids. I got a great text this weekend from Senator Cedillo Lopez saying, you are on our radar, Media Arts Academy. And so she invited me to an event Saturday that I attended. And Representative Anunu was there, and I spoke with she and the senator and Representative Mariana Anaya, who is the representative for Nob Hill. Interestingly, Nob Hill District meets the International District right at Washington and Central. And so her staffer was here at the school, and they're interested in working with us. Also, I just talked to Representative Herndon today about some of the issues that they're involved in. She is sponsoring a bill that will hopefully make it easier for us to get guidance counselors. The real problem, even if we could get one, it's hard to, even if we could afford one, it's hard to find them. And so she's working on a bill that would make licensure easier for out-of-state transfers for guidance counselors. And she was talking about some other legislation that they'll be working on. And Thursday, she's having an event that I'll attend. She and Senator Hickey, both of whom were our major benefactors. Senator Hickey gave us $100,000 last year in capital outlay. I think I mentioned to you, I ran into his wife. He's a doctor and formerly ran Loveless Hospital. And I asked his wife, why did he give us $100,000? I mean, I thought it was really nice of him. I said, it's nice of him to do that, but why did he do that? And anyway, she just said he likes the film industry. And their son went to film school. So hopefully I'll see them Thursday and just, keep our face in front of them. And the kids are already working on stories regarding issues. One of their favorite issues that they're hoping the legislature passes, it doesn't have anything to do with money, which means it might not see the light of day. They tried it last year, but Senator Cedillo Lopez is one of the sponsors that would prohibit book banning in school libraries and in public libraries. And that's the issue that really gets the kids riled up about. They don't want to see books banned, and that's a good thing. So anyways, that's what's going on so far.
Thank you, Anthony. That was a great report. There's a lot of things going on.
Yep.
Any questions or comments for Mr. Conforti?
I was just going to say regarding the internships, eventually I think we might get into the good position of having more internships available than we have students who are willing or able to do them. And we need to we do need to refresh our wording on how we project that. And again, I know we were talking about this with Mr. Jones, is that while we need seniors to be able to do it, a lot of these providers really want our interns to start in the 9th grade because they like to be able to train, get them trained. They don't want to see them just come and go. Oh. And so, hopefully we can do that, and we do have some of the high schools, that we had started off in 9th grade. They worked for 3 or 4 years as interns, and then they graduated and they got hired by the high school. So, that's really kind of an ideal situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what a fun thing to do as well. And the same thing with the chupacabras. I almost want to call them the chicharrones for some reason.
Well, that's another good sports name, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it's because I'm hungry. Anyway. Okay, if there's no other comments or questions for Mr. Conforti, we'll move on to our student representative, Tag, who has been very patient, waiting. Are you there?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
So I only have 2 things, which is that currently student government is planning prom, which we have tentatively set for April 25th. Okay. We're searching for a venue, and the theme will be celestial. We did a vote on, I believe it was either this Monday or last Monday, but that's what students voted for the theme. And we also revised and adopted our new SGA charter on December 16th. So that basically went through, like, we had a former sponsor of the Student Government Association, and after Mr. Frampton left, the organization kind of just fell through. So Miss Reyes is currently taken over being the sponsor of it, and we changed a lot of things about like how we wanted to run.
Very good. Do you have good participation with other students?
We do. Right now we have, I believe we have maybe 20 to 25 students in student government who attend the meetings. So
Pretty good. That's
and then
actually
even more who volunteer. So
yeah. Great. Those are great numbers to start out with. And as other kids, start seeing what you're doing and how much fun it is, you'll get participation from them as well. And thank you for your comment on the computers, because, it's good to hear from the actual users in the classroom of what would work. So thank you very much for that input. Okay, Johnny, do you have anything you want to say on behalf of PAC or any of that? Not yet?
Not yet.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, though. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on to the new old business roundtable discussion, and I have a few things to go over just real quick. I want to put Dr. Tafoya, Eddie, on notice that I would very much think it would be a great idea if he was our speaker at graduation instead of me this year. I think the kids would absolutely like it. So I'm officially warning you that.
Well, I would love to do it.
Great.
Can I use the word ass in my speech?
Well, we'll have to have a conversation with Director Jones. But
I crack the jokes for sure.
Definitely crack the jokes. I think it'll be I think it'll go over really well with our students and our parents and just the whole thing. So just putting you on notice so you have time to work up a routine.
Well, yeah, and I was going to begin with a joke with somebody calling me a dumbass. But I don't want to be inappropriate.
Well, I bet Google Meta Al chat box will give you a few more words for a smartass.
Well, dumbass is the
dumbass. Okay. Well, I guess I didn't consider you dumb, so you're more of a smart ass. Just
okay.
Being a professor, you're not really dumb. So that one, I do want to remind everybody about the legislature on the 26th on Monday. We'll pass on more information. I know I'm planning on going up with the kids that day. School choice there, I believe, is the 24th. That's at the convention center, I believe. I think it's already staffed, correct? But it's always good to have, council members stop by. I plan on being there that day as well to be on hand. So I don't think we were in it last year, correct? This is the first year for a while. Yeah. I don't think we were in it last year, and it was something that we should have been. And then also a reminder for those of you who signed up, the charter school dinner with the PEC on the 30th. Those of you who signed up, just make sure that's on your radar. And then also make sure to keep up on your training. They have so many different options available, but I just want it on the record every meeting that we talk about training. So do any of the other governing council members have anything to add? Nope.
And just thank you, everybody, for all your hard work. And you too, Courtney, thank you for everything that you do for us.
Yes, definitely. Yes. Thank you to everybody. It takes a team to do this, and we have a really tight team, and it's getting better and bigger, and we've got a good footprint. Okay, well, with no further business, I am going to adjourn the meeting at 1:30 p.m. Thank you all.
Okay.
Y'all be safe, and we will see you soon.
Okay.
Thank
Take
you.
care.